You do not have to starve yourself on your fat loss journey. Here are some tips that have helped me. One, I am someone who likes to eat a lot of food. I know a lot of people like to say that they've lost fat while eating the same foods, just smaller amounts. And I think it's good to balance different ways of eating. However, for me, I like to prioritize eating higher volume, lower calorie meals while also hitting all my macros. Of course, you need a good amount of protein, fat, carbs to function as a human. In order to get that, I eat mostly whole foods based. I'm not perfect. I'll throw in some processed stuff here and there, but that basically means I'm eating more vegetables and fruits. I cook for myself, so it's easier to control what I put in my meals, but I'll usually have a protein that I surround everything around, a meat, some chicken, tilapia, tuna, beef, stuff like that. And I'll fluff it up with some carbs. Carbs as in fruits and vegetables, but you can also have rice, stuff like that. Potatoes are the most satiating carb, so that will go a long way. I also love, which I have with me, kabocha squash. Don't ask me why I have it in my room, but it is a very low calorie vegetable that can fill you up. And it tastes like nice and sweet and creamy. I definitely recommend that. I also recommend drinking enough water throughout the day, but also trying to drink at least a cup before eating a meal because sometimes we are not hungry. I've heard it takes like 15 minutes for your brain to register that you are full. So sometimes we'll be eating until we feel full. And by that point, you'll get up and like 10 minutes later, you feel bloated because it was too much food. One of the biggest tips is keeping yourself busy, especially as a kid when I had like no idea of like nutrients, macros. Not shaming past me, of course, I was a kid, but it was easy to snack on a bag of chips mindlessly throughout the day just to get like oral stimulation or just for the flavor. And that ties into another thing. When you eat foods, even if it's snacks like chips, put it in a bowl, maybe even weigh it out, or just putting it in a bowl helps you not mindlessly snack on it. And if you're not big on water, which my cousin recently told me that she doesn't like to drink water, that's another thing. But if you want to fill your stomach throughout the day and you know you're not hungry, I recommend getting like 0 calorie or like 5 calorie drinks, like those ice drink bottles or flavor drops. I love getting, and even electrolytes. I love these electrolytes by Ecovision. Not sponsored, but I actually don't know how many calories are in this. They're usually low calorie, so a lot of times people will fill their days with like a Starbucks drink or a fancy drink. I mean, we're living life. If you want a fancy drink, have a fancy drink, but everything in moderation. Having lower calorie drinks replace those higher calorie drinks can be very helpful. Plus the carbonation helps your stomach feel full when you know you're not hungry. Also, with eating higher volume, lower calorie meals, it allows you to eat more often throughout the day. And I just recommend that in general for people. I think a good rule of thumb is like eating every 3 to 4 hours. I used to only have 2 meals a day. And it worked. I don't know how I made it work, but now I'll have 3 meals a day and then like some snacks in between. You can make it work. It's a little tricky, but since I track my calories and my macros, honestly, it's helped me. I know some people have like a bad relationship with it, but it's helped me make sure that I am eating enough foods because it can get easy to underestimate and even overestimate the amount of calories and macros that you're getting in a day. You can also find healthier alternatives to your snacks. If you like chips, maybe opt for popcorn that you make at home. Well, I know Drizzlicious, those rice cakes, if you have a sweet tooth, they're very satisfying. There's just so many options out there when it comes to fat loss that is maintainable, sustainable, enjoyable, not punishment. It takes a lot of smart strategic thinking to figure out how you can get everything, but once you master it, you're easy breezy cover girl, whatever the saying is. With keeping busy, doing hobbies, doom scrolling can help, but also making sure you're not consuming media from people who have lifestyles that you don't want. I mean, yes, you can, but like if you're constantly seeing mukbangs, which I love me a good mukbang, and they're eating foods that you shouldn't be eating on your fat loss journey or you need to eat in moderation. Mukbangers love to eat huge amounts of food. That's also just not good for, it's too tempting. You know, if you don't have the mental strength, don't do that to yourself. And something that's really helped me with sustaining my fat loss journey and staying on the journey losing fat was watching creators who had the discipline, consistency, meal plans, whatever, stuff that I wanted to incorporate into my life. Some people I like are Buff Unicorn, Haley Fernandez, Higher Up Wellness. He does a little bit of everything. Haley Cordova, Demetra. There's a bunch of creators out there. If anyone wants some more, let me know. And yeah, eat when you're hungry. That's the biggest thing. Trying to starve yourself is just prolonging the inevitable. Eventually it will get up to you and then you will likely get into a cycle of overeating, restricting, and we don't want to do that. If you want long-term results, which there's no shame and struggling with food, of course. Your self-compassion. You can't hate yourself into a body that you love. If you want maintainable results, honoring your hunger cues when you first feel them is what's going to give you those results. Food is fuel. You cannot operate properly without the right nutrition, the right amount of food. Don't punish your body for doing what it needs to do. So a good rule of thumb is making sure that you're eating enough at every meal, getting enough fats, protein, carbs, higher protein diets. It's a lifestyle, not just... Anyway, I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.